He knows I'm here.
Who? Who knows you're here?
Fred Krueger. I didn't think he was strong enough to kill me. Fear is what gives him his energy. But he hasn't regained his full energy yet. I don't know how he's accessing my fear. If you hadn't warned me...
I heard screaming, and Josh Johnson was asleep, so I just snuck in, and you were struggling, so...
Maybe because you know him and your parents know him.
Nancy, this is ridiculous. Your dreams can't kill you.
No. They can sure as hell hurt you.
If you didn't believe me, why did you give me the hypnosis?
I want to believe you.
This is SchlockFest. I am Ray McGuff, and with me as always is...
Jean-Paul Mantilla.
We have a special guest, Jean-Paul. Why don't you introduce her?
We have Diandra Lazor.
Correct.
Of, what is it, Elm Street Radio?
That is correct.
All right. And what else are you working on?
I am a producer and part of the team for FredHeads, the documentary, all about the A Nightmare on Elm Street fandom, and just a general, really, really big A Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I'm doing all kinds of little projects for the community, so, but those are my two biggest ones, and I have a lot of great people that I know and that I'm glad to work with to be able to bring these two things in particular and everything over the years to life. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I saw, just how I was aware of you was through the fan film that you did with where I believe the original was her name Diane? I forget it now. I'm sorry. The original lady did the voiceover for that.
Heather Langenkamp.
I'm sorry, Heather Langenkamp. So her name escaped me there for a second. But that's the first time I saw that short film, and that's the first time I was aware of you. Could you just kind of give a little shout out to that and explain how maybe that came together?
Yeah, so the fan film is called Don't Fall Asleep, and all my friends who pretty much I've been doing every project with for years, we're huge Nancy Thompson fans. That's actually how we all came together. And we saw our friend Nathan Thomas Milliner's fan film, The Confession of Fred Krueger, at Horror Hound. And we'd watched many fan films before then, and we were joking around saying, maybe we should make a Nancy one. And then it was a couple of minutes went by, and then we were like, well, maybe we really should. And so the thing that we had always talked about was answering the question of what happened to Nancy between A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, and A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. There's a little bit of story behind that from the Innovation Publishing comics, which is basically a page where Nancy talks about what happened to her between the time that we don't see her, basically when Nightmare 2 is happening. And it is considered a piece of official Nightmare canon or the storyline because it was something that New Line Cinema had commissioned to basically lead in to Freddy's Dead. And so we took that and we added little other elements of how we might have thought the story would have gone. And then we made it actually down here where I am right now, which is Columbus, Ohio. We filmed it in Columbus, and that is part of the reason why I moved to Columbus was because of how much I loved it when we filmed. And Heather Langenkamp, who we all love and we've known over the years, we just kind of asked her casually, would you be interested in doing a voiceover of Nancy from Beyond the Grave? And she agreed to it. Oh, and it was kind of surreal to hear her do these lines as Nancy that we wrote, and to be able to be a part of something Nightmare where she was actually coming back as Nancy Thompson. And for me, to be able to play Nancy in that film with her as Nancy from Beyond the Grave was mind-blowing. I can't think of anything higher for me and my Nancy Thompson fandom than having that opportunity. And we've had a lot of people who really liked it, and
I thought it was fantastic. I
a lot of just the friends. William plays Freddy, and he's the best Freddy that, we see at conventions. Paige was one of the co-writers and the directors, and she's also directing FredHeads, the documentary, and Kim Gunzinger, Anthony Brownlee, Taylor Bursky, Maddie Kelly. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on for all the people that we had involved in that. Lito Velasco did the scoring, and of course he's worked on several horror documentaries, and for Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy, he was one of the producers on that. And so it was just a labor of love. And we premiered it at Days of the Dead in Louisville in 2016. And we had a small panel afterward. The room was crowded, and pretty much everybody stayed for the panel. And it was a surreal experience to be a part of that. And so I'm super thankful, and I love it. Not just being a part of it, but being a fan and watching it. It's really exciting, and it meets all those fan points for us. So it's our lovely little nightmare movie.
Yes, it's a nice little love letter to that fandom. And we, I know William, we were just discussing that too. William Adams, who plays Freddy Krueger in that film, I know him pretty well too. He is a fantastic guy, but he is, you're right, one of the, probably I'd say the best Freddy out of all the conventions I've been to. He really owns that role. When he's in the costume and makeup, he's fantastic. I mean, he's a fantastic guy outside of it. His Adams Entertainment, you guys should look him up if you're not aware of him. But he really brings it when he's Freddy.
And he enjoyed stalking us at Horror Hound.
Yeah, he did.
And people can hire him to be their Freddy at their parties. So
yeah, absolutely. Adams Entertainment. You can get him as Batman, Freddy, Optimus Prime now I saw. So
that was an amazing costume. I saw that and thought, oh my gosh, what? That's him? I couldn't believe it. That Optimus Prime was really killer.
Oh yeah, in the video I saw, these little kids were just in awe of, it was 4th of July, and they're just, they're literally looking at like an 8-foot tall Optimus Prime. Pretty cool. Well,
yeah.
So what are you working on now, right at the moment?
Right now, I have my podcast, which I co-host with my friend Paige, called Elm Street Radio, devoted to the A Nightmare on Elm Street series, between having people who are involved with the films or the comic books or any element of A Nightmare on Elm Street on for interviews and discussions, to just having discussions with fellow fans on delving into various elements of the franchise, and talking about some of the news that might have come out, like Robert's idea for a Freddy for a new movie, or the birth of the glove in the original film, and different elements like that. So it's a really comprehensive and all-around discussion on A Nightmare on Elm Street. And people have said to us, that's pretty interesting. You have a podcast on A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't understand how you can have that much to talk about. And over the years, knowing every day that fans are just delving into these over and over again, new subjects that haven't been discussed before, there's so much to talk about. And the other project is FredHeads, the documentary, right, at FredHeads Doc, and it is it's about the fandom of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and there are the interviews with many of the cast members and some of the crew members from the films. But it's really focused on the fans and how a film can change someone's life, because everybody involved with FredHeads has had their life changed by A Nightmare on Elm Street in many, many, many ways. And everybody's story is different. Everybody's story is unique, just like every fan. And it has been amazing to hear people's stories and to be a part of the team. So those are my two big A Nightmare on Elm Street projects going on right now, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of both.
Nice.
Well, I would definitely agree with you about the fandom. I mean, we're watching Freddy's Dead, which is, not many people's favorite. But when I was 14 years old, there was one theater in Columbus here showing it, and I had to get my mom and my best friend at the time, and we had to go see it in 3D. And that's why I'm torturing Randy with this wonderful gem as Freddy's Dead.
I honestly don't believe I've seen this since it was out in the theater, and I remember lying to my parents to tell them I was going with some friends to see some cartoon movie, and we went and saw it in 3D, and then...
Well, I mean, you didn't exactly lie.
Yeah.
There are, that's true.
That's true, yeah. So
this is the Looney Tunes of the Freddy movies.
It is.
It is my, it's not one I've ever went, man, I really need to see that again. But, knowing Jean-Paul here is like probably the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street fan I've ever met in my real life. So he knows all the, it's kind of fun watching these movies with him because he knows all the stuff about it.
Everything. Yeah.
So,
well, Freddy's Dead was the first one that I ever saw when I had become a fan, so it holds a special place in my heart.
Nice.
See, for me, it was part 4, which I'm excited. It's August is tomorrow, so the end of August at the Gateway.
Yeah, that's right. They're
Yes.
planning. Mm-hmm. We're talking about going to see that. We probably will.
I love it. I would love it if you guys did. Yeah, it's showing at Gateway, A Nightmare on Elm Street for the 24th and the 25th, and then it's showing that I'm probably getting my dates mixed up. Hold on a second. Let me double check to make sure I'm getting these right.
Okay.
It's the Saturday. Yeah, the 24th and the 25th, and then the 27th, which is the Monday, and then the 29th, there's a screening of it as well as a panel that will be there, and costuming is encouraged. So if you love the 80s or you want to wear something Nightmare on Elm Street, please wear it.
Nice. There's
going to be music from the films. There's also going to be potentially some drink and pizza specials that will be there at Gateway to celebrate A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and some other goodies.
Yeah. We're gonna try to get a group of people together. We'll probably do that one. That's the one that sounds
like a blast.
Yeah, right up our alley. So
Awesome.
So, are you ready for Freddy's Dead?
I am ready. I haven't. You want to weigh in on this on your end? You said it. Was your first Nightmare on Elm Street film. Do you have any fond memories, special moments that we should look out for?
My favorite memory is just Freddy's Dead in general. I mean, I remember sitting on the floor in my bedroom with a small orange DVD player, a portable one, that had the little screen, and it was hot in the room, and it smelled like summertime, and I just remember watching Freddy's Dead over and over and over again and telling people about it and watching it. And I remember especially Maggie, the moments when she's in her dress, the little, when, I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't seen it yet, but definitely the whole movie for me is super nostalgia. So if I sit down and watch it with the windows open at summertime, it brings back those memories from the very, very beginning of when I became a fan.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're going to dive into this movie, so if you're listening, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to hear our take on Freddy's Dead. Okay, we're back. This is SchlockFest. I'm Ray McGuff.
And Jean-Paul Mantilla.
We just watched the schlockiest of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Freddy's Dead.
Freddy's Dead.
Freddy's Dead, bitches! And we also had a very nice guest in the intro, Diandra Lazor. Yep. And she told me to, on our phone call, after we hung up, or after we ended our intro, that I should be on the lookout for Freddy's address. What's Freddy's address, John Paul Mantia?
Is it 14...
28 Elm Street?
28 Elm Street?
I don't know, is it?
I don't know.
Because that's apparently a debate in these Freddy fan circles, whether or not this movie actually seals the deal as to where Freddy lived in the town, that he lived on Elm Street, and he was a pedophile or child murderer with a little lockbox in his garage, or his, wait, not garage, it's like a basement.
In the same house that Nancy lived.
In the same house that Nancy lived in the first movie. It's a little, but they don't say it outright. It just kind of looks similar. But don't a lot of houses look similar in neighborhoods like this in the 80s? I don't know. I guess that's a question for everyone. What do you think? Do you think that it's the same house? I never even heard this was a thing until I was talking to her about it. So, in my opinion, I believe that's what they were hinting at, is that the same house from the original movie was Freddy's original house. That's what I was. But I could be wrong. I guess it's a hot debate. Hot button topic. So let me backtrack, since we didn't get to do our fun little beginnings. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, we're going to give you the overview as we normally do. The intro, we kind of this time swapped out the overview for an interview with Diandra about upcoming stuff and our love of Nightmare on Elm Street. And so give us the lowdown. Freddy's dead.
Freddy's dead, the final nightmare.
Oh, and this, real quick, for our one fan that likes to critique every little thing we say, we got this off the internet. We didn't double check it with 9 sources. We don't give that much of a fuck.
This came from IMDb.
So IMDb, if it's wrong, contact IMDb. I couldn't give a shit less if it's right or wrong. Just so I know.
And if it's right or wrong, you know.
This is supposed to be fun. I already have a real job. I don't have time to fucking research every little tidbit of things. So, that being said,
this wonderful movie came out on Friday the 13th, September of 1991.
Ooh!
Yeah. It was directed by Rachel Talalay.
Rachel Talalay. We were making fun of her name. She's actually went on to do quite a bit of interesting stuff, right?
Yeah. The Flash, as you love.
I do like the Flash TV series. She's directed episodes of that.
Doctor Who,
which I'm also a fan of. But she's directed the Cabaldi era, which I'm not a big fan of. But still, Doctor Who, I like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Riverdale. Pretty good size chunk of fan base.
Yeah.
I would imagine that.
Tank Girl.
Ooh. Strike 3.
Ooh. Sounds like a future movie for you to watch.
Oh, God, I hate Tank Girl. I don't hate it because of the feminism in it.
Do you hate it because of Ice-T turning into a kangaroo?
I hate it because it's a terrible fucking movie that made no sense.
It's a great comic.
Yeah.
I think it might be a future release.
All right.
But back to this. So the budget. What would you guess the budget of this wonderful movie, now that you've seen it?
Now that I've seen it again, I watched this once when I was a kid. I couldn't remember shit about it. This was my least favorite of the franchise. That's how much, because every time I would get a chance to watch these over, in the years, I would skip this one every time. But let's say back in this era, they had pretty good faith in it. Had a bunch of product placement and things. I would say $20 million.
Wow. No.
Okay.
No. The estimated, and I say estimated, budget for this movie was $11 million.
Oh, no shit. I was way off.
You were way off.
But still, I mean, I had to think it was more than the other ones.
Yeah. So $11 million, and what would you guess this movie made?
Video release and everything?
No, just theatrical gross.
Well, I'd say it probably made its budget back, so I'll say 20. I'll stick with 20.
Okay. You're wrong again.
Okay.
It made roughly $9 million.
$34.9 million?
Yeah.
On a budget of 11.
On a budget of 11. So
1991.
So it was a success.
Yeah, it was a huge success. That's a shitload of
fun fact.
direct-to-DVD movies at this
Fun fact, this movie made more money than New Nightmare, and New Nightmare's the better film.
It is, by leaps and bounds.
And that's sad.
New Nightmare is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
This is like a pile of garbage.
Yeah. So other fun facts. It's sitting at a 20% on Rotten Tomato. So that's pretty high.
That's pretty justified.
Yeah, pretty high. We had a fun little cameo in this movie by the one and only Alice Cooper from that wonderful movie we watched just last time.
Alice Cooper sure did need a new agent in these time periods, didn't he? His agent was like, "Yeah, definitely be in Sgt. Pepper's without the Beatles." Oh yeah, you should definitely play Freddy's abusive father.
That's right, and he wasn't even credited. That's the fun part.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
And here's the thing. So this was technically the 6th film in the Nightmare series.
Right. We were talking about that before we started. So
yeah.
I wasn't aware. I couldn't remember what the.
So technically, this is number 6. And he also did a wonderful song for the number 6 of what movie?
Oh, who, Alice Cooper?
Yeah.
I forget. I'm sorry.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. That's right.
The Man Behind the Mask.
That's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
And then that song was, a fun song in that movie. But this movie had another fun song. It's called Why Was I Born? Freddy's Dead by Iggy Pop.
Yeah, Iggy Pop. When you told me that, I went, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
but Iggy Pop wrote it, and then and it was won an award, didn't it?
It did. It won the worst song of the year, 1992 Razzie Award.
Razzies.
It should have won a good. I mean, it's a great song.
It's a pretty.
You know what else? This soundtrack was so great.
Oh, you were telling me.
It was so great. It was on Metal Blade soundtrack.
Yeah, Metal Blade soundtrack.
Heavy metal.
You guys got to remember too that this is the '90s. Okay, so metal was a little different. Pantera was just coming on the scene.
Oh, just
Metallica had just had a couple of good albums.
Yeah.
So, or no, a good album probably.
I would say 2, but
maybe 2. Okay. I don't. I'd have to look.
You still have the AC/DC.
Well, that's right. Well, yeah, okay, but I'm just saying, like, he's going to tell you this and say they did metal songs, and you're going to go, "That's not a fucking metal band."
Oh yeah.
But for 1991, they were a metal.
Hey, they weren't. They didn't do ballads yet.
Yeah.
Goo Goo Dolls. They only. It's not only they do one song, but they do several songs on the soundtrack. Metal Blades!
Yeah.
Shout out to Metal Blade.
Shout out to Metal Blade Records. You guys really knew what you were doing, huh?
Love this soundtrack. I used to listen to it all the time as a kid.
Terrible.
Awesome. But, so yeah, we saw this wonderful movie.
Okay. So it's time for, so is that the bullet points?
That's the bullet points.
All right, so it's time for Ray's Rundown.
Phenomena.
All right, so the film opens, by the way, Jean-Paul pointed this out, this is the only Nightmare on Elm Street movie that doesn't have Nightmare on Elm Street in the title.
It does not. It is called what?
It's called Freddy's Dead.
The Final Nightmare.
The Final Nightmare.
Because this was the Final Nightmare.
Yeah,
apparently.
so movie opens with a nice little 90s thing that they used to do where if you were in a series like this, it would just have like a screen graphic and then tell you a bunch of shit that happened in between the decade or so between the last franchise part and this one.
Yes, because it was sad you didn't bring back 2 of the greatest characters, Alice.
So it was like,
Jacob.
It was like, so it's been a while. It's been a while. And those
years.
people are done. And it's been 10 years. And the town has just been decimated by Freddy Krueger. He's killed all the children except for one. And we open with the one child that he hasn't killed, who's a teenager. He's kind of an asshole, pretty much a moron. And, he gets in this dream sequence where he's falling out of an airplane. And then he wakes up and gets hit by a bus that Freddy's driving.
But before all of that, you're skipping through the homage. I forgot my homages.
Oh, God.
This movie had great homages.
It doesn't have... This movie's awful, but go on.
Do you remember Twilight Zone? Do you remember the
yeah, there's something on the wing.
There's something on the wing.
Wow, they haven't done that a million times with other things.
So Ray Trutatelli said, let's do it in this.
Yeah. So they did the classic Shatner Twilight Zone episode. There's something on the wing, and it's Freddy. You know.
But it wasn't.
I mean, what was it again?
Nothing.
Okay. Well,
That's the whole joke.
They did the joke. It was stupid. And I'll be honest with you. The first 30 minutes of this movie, I kept drifting in and out of sleep. I thought I drooled on my shirt a little, but I did.
He did. He did.
But so I might have fell asleep when that was completely. But I know the nod to it. It's stupid. Anyways. So they do that. He falls from the plane. Freddy chases him to this dreamscape, which actually looks kind of cool. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched this, but this whole dream nightmare scape for that kid was pretty neat. They did a lot of really cool shots, I thought.
Yeah.
Kind of geared you up as like, oh shit, maybe this isn't as silly as I remembered it being.
Maybe.
Then we get old Fredster
driving a bus.
And I happened to remark to Jean-Paul in this quick scene, hey, that makeup doesn't look as bad as I thought it did. And he's like, you're stupid, you're a dummy, your parents should have smacked you when you were a kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
I thought they did, though.
He said, he's like, it's a rubber mask, this is the worst looking Freddy makeup in all of the franchise.
But this is still one of my favorite movies.
It's still one of his, see, this is the thing, Jean-Paul loves schlock. I am not a fan. So, this is right up his fucking alley. He loves rubber masks and shit. And at first I was like, well, I don't think it looks that bad. Then we get a close-up when he knocks the kid through reality, to reality.
Which is pretty cool.
It's pretty neat little effect. But you get a close-up and you're like, oh, clearly they spent all of $7 on this makeup. I mean, he's right.
There was an $11 million budget, so they had to have something.
It's like Robert Englund in a rubber mask with just a little bit of like fucking red parts on, like, I don't know, this is like rosacea around his face more than burn marks.
Yeah.
We're looking right now at a screen on the DVD, and it looks 10 times better here than it did in the whole fucking movie. So I don't know how that's even possible. I mean, look at the claw. The claw looks amazing in this little.
The claw was great in the movie.
The claw didn't look the same to me. I don't know,
okay.
but we'll go on. So. Anyway, this kid wakes up and he doesn't know who he is and where he came from, except for he knows he was the last. Cut to insane asylum.
He wasn't insane.
Okay. Orphanage.
No, try again.
Halfway house.
Shelter.
Okay.
Runaway shelter.
Some kind of place we've already been 7 times. 5 times. Before.
5 times.
It's a very reminiscent of all the other ones. I mean, obviously, all the other ones being from 3 on. But, yeah, so it's, you know, another place with kids, and they're sad. They didn't get the love that they needed. They got weird ponytails. One kid's deaf. Then there's always your classic tough girl, because why? Because her daddy was really, really terrible to her. I mean,
yeah,
your cookie cutter characters. But then a little something happens. A little psychologist comes in, tweaks my old eyeballs. I was like, "Whoa, Jean-Paul, who's this looker?"
And I say, "Hey, that's Lisa Zane."
Lisa Zane,
Billy Zane's sister.
Billy Zane's sister.
Yeah, shut up, Billy Zane's sister.
Yeah, she's a sight for sore eyes. In this, I don't remember oogling her as a child.
As a child, I thought she looked like Madonna when I was younger.
Oh wow, yeah, you were way off on that.
I was way off on that.
But yeah,
Madonna did go through black hair.
I kept giving this chick the once over, like, and not in a weird Me Too way, just kind of a respectful. Wow, you were a very lovely, attractive woman, and I would like to see more of your films. I did not know that, and she was good.
And she's a singer, by the way.
She's a singer? All right. Yeah. I have to listen to some of that. I don't know. But,
she's a lounge singer.
Well,
that's all
hey,
right.
That's even better. That's right up my alley.
It is.
If you go away on this summer's day, then you might as well take the sun away. All the birds that flew in the summer sky, when our love was new and our hearts were high. And the day was young, and the night was long, and the moon stood still for a summer song. If you go away, if you go
But she was actually pretty solid. I liked her. I don't remember her being this good in the first time I watched it, so I was pretty enthralled. She is trying to help these kids.
Yeah.
Little almost for you. A little
Almost.
Edward James almost. I gotta reach these kids.
Now, remember, though.
Yeah.
So, one of the kids from this, the boy with the hearing aid,
Yes.
is from one of your favorite movies as a kid.
As a kid.
Yes. Marty McFly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Back to the Future too. He's like, hoverboards don't go on water, dojo.
Unless you have
power. So apparently that's the same guy. Hey, double check that, and if it's wrong, tell IMDb.
Yeah,
Don't fucking tell me about it. Okay?
It's wrong, but it's not wrong.
it's not.
It's not wrong. But who else shows up? Robot Chicken fame, Breckenmeyer.
That's right, Breckenmeyer. Yeah, he's got ponytail. He's wearing your classic early 90s apparel, which is a paisley shirt with kind of fucking weird dress pants and a nice little
the beginning of grunge.
Nice little fucking vesty. He's got a little vest on.
So what you wear on your weekends?
Yeah, just like casual wear if you're a fucking 60s lounge singer or a saxophone player. Yeah. But so he's there. He the other kid, deaf kid's there. Blondie,
Carlos.
Carlos. Blondie is the kickboxer of the group because she's real mad at her dad. She wishes she could beat him to death again. And when you find out in the movie why, it's valid. It's valid reason.
It is valid.
He wants her to honey. We'll talk about it.
She's the MVP.
So they've all got this escape plan to get out of this apparently place where they can leave at any time. That Jean Paul says. But
it's a shelter.
It's a shelter
for kids. Runaway
but
kids.
Then they've got the guy from Alien, the first Alien movie, who's always complaining about his bonus as their psychologist who's really into dreams, which is helpful.
And it's very helpful.
We need to talk about my bonus. If we're going to go down to that planet, this is a different movie, by the way. I'm talking about Alien. If we're going to go down to that planet, I'm going to need to talk about my bonus.
All right.
But anyway, so it's good to see him. I like that guy. He's always entertaining. But he's super into dreams and weird fucking mythology. He actually has a Ancient Dreams poster, which is, as you would.
With dream demons.
With dream demons. He has this whole backstory about dream demons. That's kind of relevant later.
Well, they search the world of the living to find the most heinous and evilest man to inhabit.
Right. So, they're dream demons.
Yeah.
That's what they do. All right?
That's what they do.
So, then, after we meet this new group of fresh-faced youngins,
fresh meat,
ready for the destruction, we cut back to, fucking idiot from the opening who doesn't know who he is getting brought into this halfway house?
Should we call him John Doe?
Yes, it was John Doe.
That's his name.
Halfway house?
Or boys' home?
Boys' home?
Girls' home?
Lets girls in? I don't know. It's under construction, though. We talked about that.
Well, that was really weird.
There's a weird scene where they're showing the new kid around, and there's just... It looks like they're building something, but nothing at the same time. There's really no rhyme or reason. Just construction happening. But anyway, so... New kid doesn't know what's going on and doesn't know who he is. He just knows he's the last. So right away, our counselor lady, who we'll just call...
her name is Maggie.
Maggie, that's right. Maggie. If I could forgot her name already. Like Billy Zane's sister.
Yes.
Maggie takes to the kid because she has her own problems. You find out she's got a little bit of... missing time herself. She can't remember a lot from her childhood, and when she tries to think about it, it's just flashes of a young girl in pigtails in a dress.
That's called trauma.
Trauma.
Not to be confused with trauma.
Yeah, not to be confused with trauma. And James Gunn.
And that's what you're going to say about that?
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. So go on.
All right, so she's trying to help him. They're talking and trying to come up with ideas, positive things, and so she talks to the old dream guy, And he says something kind of interesting like, maybe we should go back and explore that trauma, right? So Maggie decides to take the kid to the town that he's from because she finds a newspaper clipping in his pocket that says Mrs. Kruger missing, something like that.
I don't
Still
believe it said that, but
well,
I mean...
yeah, I thought it did. It said Kruger woman missing.
Okay, that's what it said.
I mean, you see this movie 50 times.
Yes, that's what it said.
All right, something like that. All right.
Yes.
So she's like, oh, I think I'm going to go take this kid back to Creepy Town. And,
Springwood.
Springwood, Ohio.
That's right.
Represent.
Not to be confused with Springfield, Ohio.
Right. But, so they go there. As they're driving, old sleepy time kid falls asleep. Wakes up, has a episode where he grabs the wheel and fucking pulls the wheel. Because, you know, as you do.
Well, he thought he was going to hit a little girl.
They're driving this fucking beater fucking truck, too. It's like a bus. No, it's not even a bus. It's a van, I guess.
That's a van.
It's got all this graffiti on it, which is weird to me, seeing as how they've got money to spend on fucking fixing up the place, but they're not going to throw a white paint coat on there? I don't know.
No, they don't need it. It says youth shelter. That's good enough.
Youth shelter. There. So, anyways, to which they discover in the back of the van are stowaways.
Oh no, who's stowing away?
Uh-oh. It's the kids from earlier.
Oh, damn.
Their plan was to ride in this van until somebody drove it somewhere they could escape.
To California, actually.
Well, they wanted to go to California, but ended up in Springwood, Ohio. That's how stupid they are.
Well, you know.
All right. So now they're all in Springwood, Ohio. They pull into the Springwood Town Fair.
This is the best.
This is my favorite scene in the movie. Because guess who shows up, kids? Scarier than Freddy Krueger. Roseanne Arnold. She scares the kid. She grabs the kid and says, "Oh, I got your nose. Oh, I'll stay here and live with me." But she doesn't say one racist thing, which was surprising.
This is pre all of that.
Oh, she wasn't racist back then.
She wasn't taking Ambien.
Yeah, this is before Ambien. Obviously, she looked wide awake, and
that's right. And Ambien wasn't created yet.
She looks like she was doing cocaine.
Yes, with well, show up.
Guess who shows up as her husband? Also, at this time, real husband, Tom Arnold.
Arnold, kids.
Tom Arnold. You know what he says to her? He says, "See what you done did? You scared them kids." That's how he comes and gets them. Classic Tom Arnold.
Well, you know. Because this is the Twin Peaks of towns.
Yeah, you kept saying that. This lady definitely had a not a hard on, but she had a. That's very rude of me to say, but she had a some sort of weird thing with Twin Peaks, because this whole movie felt like her auditioning to do a couple episodes of Twin Peaks. There was hallways and old people and random red rooms.
But here's the fun thing about this, Randy.
Yeah.
In 1991, that means Twin Peaks just came out. That means she fell in love with that show right away and said, "I'm going to make a movie."
Well,
in homage to Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, and again, we could be wrong. It just felt really weird. It felt like Twin Peaks in parts. We even said it twice. Like, this is like something out of Twin Peaks. But anyway, so...
Well, the movie says it as well.
Yeah, they even said that's right.
They said we're in Twin Peaks.
Yeah. So it had to be relevant at the time. But anyway, so the kids escape. They grab the van. Maggie has taken John Doe for a walk. Yeah, 1991, Twin Peaks. John Paul's showing me.
Yeah, it first started in 1990, so yeah.
Yeah, so it had a year, so it must have been a cultural phenomenon. I myself wasn't into Twin Peaks until way later when they did the movie Firewalk with me. But,
see, I was into it pretty early.
Well, yeah, you're way older than I am. So.
Yeah, I'm old.
You're like 50 or some shit.
Or 40.
I'm 27.
Or 40.
But anyways, so you get that. So the kids go off on their own, as they do. The Maggie and the other dummy go walking around. They go into the school. They find this old-timey teacher still teaching to empty desks. You know, why? Why not?
To give history.
Yeah, he's giving history. 1492, Freddy sailed the ocean blue and then murdered everyone, I guess. But
he also killed Elvis.
Yeah, I saw that. Freddy killed Elvis. He says something to them. What does he say? He says something to them in the classroom and they go off. Do you remember?
He says a lot of things to them.
Right at the end, right before they leave. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is where they took away his daughter.
That's right. Well, no, they took his kid away. Because at first he does.
Sorry, it's kid. You're right.
They took his kid away. His child. They took his child away. And so now they're on the hunt for Freddy's long lost child. Cut back to our band of losers in the van. Lonesome losers.
I don't think they were losers.
They were fucking losers. Anyways, deaf kid falls asleep in the van. They drive around. They can't get out of the town. Deaf kid wakes up to him trying to get the map. He can't get the map open, and it says you're fucked on the map.
A great Looney Tunes gag.
Which is pretty, yeah.
So, besides this being a Twin Peaks type show, this is very much the Bugs Bunny of Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
A lot of cartoon references. They finally get out of the van and go walking around. They just decide they're going to stay the night at a house. What street are they on?
School Street?
Elm Street.
Ooh, Elm Street.
And they pick the first house they see, and as they go in, really terrible fucking job with like a stop motion animation with models, like tearing the outside of the house and making it look like the original.
And then it explodes.
Very shitty. Very shittily done for an $11 million budget. I'm wondering where the $11 million came into play. Was it Roseanne?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
But yeah,
no, I'll tell you where it came.
Tell me now.
Tell you now?
Yeah.
The Dream Demons. They were CGI. This was before CGI was huge. This is when the wonderful movie Terminator 2 around the same time.
Was Terminator 2 in 3D?
No, it wasn't. But I'm talking about CGI.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because I thought
those Dream Demons were not.
What's his name? James Cameron revolutionized 3D with that liquid metal guy.
He did.
But okay, so all right, so there's part of the budget 3D. The 3D CGI has got to be crazy expensive at this time period.
1991.
All right, so anyway, so the kids go to this house. Johnny, deaf guy, falls asleep again.
His name is Carlos.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I even wrote down Johnny, deaf guy.
No, it's Carlos.
Okay, so Carlos falls asleep. To which
he gets an ear cleaning.
Yeah, he gets an ear cleaning from Freddy Krueger.
Well, first it was his mother.
Well, yeah, it was his mom, not to be confused with his abuela, which is the Spanish word for grandmother.
Oh, very good.
At first, I thought it was his abuela,
but it wasn't.
She jams this giant ass Q-tip into his ear canal and through his brains. Pretty cool. Still pretty cool effect, which makes him super deaf.
Because Freddy took his
hearing aid
by taking the whole ear off.
Cuts his ear off, throws him down. He can't hear shit. Freddy's doing this really awesome dance montage behind him where he's like mocking him that he can't hear. Pretty funny. Yeah, he toys with the kid and kills him. I don't want to spend too much time on this kid because he's such a fucking disposable character. But he kills him, alright?
Without any power.
Yeah. Just kills him. Yeah, so that's done. Then it cuts back to our dude Breckenmeyer smoking that old Mary Jane.
What's that?
Marijuana.
Was he smoking a joint?
He was smoking a joint. Yeah.
He was smoking a joint.
And
Inagata
Vita starts playing. They pull him into the TV, and then all of a sudden, it's a 5-minute Nintendo Power commercial.
Which is awesome.
Glove. Freddy is playing him like a video game. Just fucking this kid up.
Fun fact, they asked Nintendo if they could use the original Power Glove, and they said no.
Nintendo said no. Still used it, though.
Yeah.
And even Freddy utters the words, "Now I'm playing with power." Great graphics.
Yeah.
In the fucking thing. So it's the Freddy version of the Power Glove. Kills Breckenmeyer.
That's sad.
Yeah, that was actually, it was funny for a minute, and then it was kind of sad. Then the crazy dream ninja girl kicks Freddy in the balls, right? And then they get out of the dream, okay? So then there's a whole subplot that I'm not going to bore you with. You should just watch this movie once if you haven't seen it. Most of us have seen this movie once by now, but if you haven't seen it, watch it because it's fucking ridiculous. But there's a whole subplot where they go back and they get the dream guy. They explain what's going on. There's more flashes of Freddy as a adult or as a kid.
As a kid.
Yeah.
The son of 100 maniacs.
Son of a yeah, that's right. I even wrote that down. Son of 100 maniacs. But they figure out that they can go into the dream world and pull Freddy out. So that's their big final plan, is to go in, fight Freddy for one final time, pull him out, and then destroy him in the real world. Pretty solid plan.
Yeah.
Which I believe almost every one of these movies had that plan, or a variation of it.
One.
Yeah.
And maybe three. I can't remember.
Okay, but
yeah.
So more than one. So this isn't a new concept.
No.
But for these guys, they finally got it all figured out, so that's what they're going to do.
But you forgot the grand surprise of this.
What did I forget?
Freddy had a daughter.
Well, yeah, that's right. During the course of this, they find out, that was what I was getting to. Freddy had a daughter, and they figure out the daughter was Maggie. And Maggie gets special magic glasses that look like old 3D glasses.
Which that's when it indicates for us to put it in 3D.
Yeah. And if you were watching this in the theater when we were kids in the 90s, that would have prompted you to put your 3D glasses on for a thrilling 4 minutes.
It's a 10-minute scene, but yes.
I'm just saying, it's not worth it at all. But so that happens, okay? You see in the flashback, you actually see some weird shit. Freddy in the flashback, in his youth, like as a little kid, takes a gerbil and beats it to death. And that's when the kids start singing, "Son of 100 maniacs, son of 100 maniacs." Then we see a young teenage Freddy Krueger in his basement, little emo goth kid, cutting his chest. He was a cutter. Freddy was a cutter.
Yeah, Freddy was a cutter.
To which we get the Alice Cooper cameo. Coming down as Freddy's drunk dad.
Well, adopted dad.
Right, but he's like, "I'm going to teach you a lesson, boy. Respect." And as he's hitting Freddy with this belt, Freddy's just laughing because he has now made himself impervious to pain, if you will.
Yeah.
So, he McMurders his dad off screen, I guess, with this razor blade.
McMurder, I like that.
Yeah. Then we see our dream fighters getting prepared. They got their shit. They grab a bunch of weapons. They get prepared for the final battle. They put her in the dream stasis. They put all Maggie in the dream stasis. Then something else happens. Oh, then we get the full-on flash of what happened to her, Maggie. She went into the basement to go back in after Freddy's wife found his kill room. So she comes out, says she won't tell anybody, but Freddy says, "No, you've got to take your medicine," which we all know what that means. Then he tells the girl to go in the house. The little girl goes into the house. She goes through the basement, and that's when she goes into the kill room. And when she comes out, it's Maggie all dressed up as a 8-year-old and Pippi Longstocking.
Red ribbons.
And
you find out that Maggie wasn't Maggie, though.
Yeah, Maggie is not Maggie. Maggie is Catherine Krueger.
KK?
Who was taken away by the authorities. She sees that Freddy killed her mom. Freddy's like, "You won't tell nobody, will you?" And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not going to tell nobody." And then he immediately says in that flashback, "Yeah, but you did tell people, and that's why I got killed." And then we get a revised scene of Freddy in the being chased by the mob and burned up, where now there's these neat demons that we were talked about earlier. CGI demons that are talking to Freddy, and they're like, "Hey, pal, you let us in here real quick, and we'll let you have eternal life."
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, cool, bro." And so they go inside of him, and that's what makes Freddy eternal. Is it's not the evil or his vengeance. No. It's CGI'd
dream demons.
puppet demons, which just ruined it for me. I was like, okay, I like the other vengeance story better. All right, but that's fine. Somebody else wrote this. So now we get a showdown with Maggie and Fred Krueger, and they're fist fighting and they're kicking ass and they're fighting each other. She stabs the shit out of him a bunch of times, gets his glove off, turns to him, and he says to her,
"Let your daddy show you how to use it."
Right, as she's holding the glove, which was the creepiest fucking thing they said in this whole movie, and it was full of weird shit. What a weird thing to have somebody say, right? So she puts on the glove, runs at him, and then just jams that glove right up into his McGuts.
But fun fact.
Yeah.
That was the only use of the Freddy glove in this whole movie.
That's right. Very, very good, Jean-Paul. Freddy didn't kill anybody else with the glove. Like, he used it as a prop, but he didn't, straight up kill him like he did in the past. He used things around them, or their own nutty shit that they were doing.
Or a bed of spikes.
Yeah,
like Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. Because I skipped over that death.
Yes, you did.
Sorry, I missed that. If you cared, John Doe got killed in his dream by pulling a parachute that was Freddy inside the parachute, and he's like, "I'm your son," and he's like, "No, I had a daughter." Cuts the parachute, then he falls on a bed of spikes and dies. So I'm sorry I missed that.
Freddy pushing the bed of spikes.
Yeah, that was very Wile E.
Coyote. Bugs Bunny, Wile E. Coyote, yes.
So that was, I missed that. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. But so back to the end. Okay, she's now got the claw up in Freddy's guts. Her little partners are like, well, they pulled her out. They pulled him out of the dream. I guess I missed that. Yes, they did. Jesus,
they pulled him into the real world.
They pulled him into the real world, found him, and kicked his ass. Okay, so now she's got him up in the guts in the real world with the real claw, and her little blonde friend, that's the only kid to make it out, throws her this makeshift bomb.
It's a pipe bomb.
Pipe bomb.
Tracy, the MVP in my opinion of this movie.
Yep. It was lit. And she jams it down his throat, right?
Yeah, down the gullet.
Down the gullet. Runs back. They let her out of this little area that they're in. They shut this door and lock it. And Freddy looks at the camera and says,
"Kids."
Yeah, he says "kids" as he explodes. Jean-Paul must have yelled in this movie at least 3 times, "Shut up, Billy Zane's sister," which made me laugh several times. Right at the end, that's how the movie ends, though, folks. The demons come out of Freddy, the CGI demons. They go out in this little hallway. The glasses, 3D glasses, reappear, which mean to take your glasses off. And they all kind of high-five. And she goes, "Freddy's dead." And that's the end.
And then you get the montage of the previous films.
Previous films, yeah.
So, again, I really enjoy this movie. As a kid, I had to get my mom to take me to the movie theater in 1991, me and my friend Ben, and only one theater in town was showing it. And it wasn't the best part of town, but we still had a good time. And then when it finally came out on VHS...
Oh, yeah.
Yes, VHS, boys and girls. That's before DVD, before Blu-ray, before streaming.
Before you could get... Let me preface this. Before you could... buy a movie in a store on VHS video, okay? Videos would come to Blockbuster rental store.
Or mom and pop.
Or a mom and pop store, okay? So, and it would do it months to get more money out of you before you could buy it and take it home to own. Those videos, Blockbuster and mom and pop stores, paid retail price for those that were made by these studios, like Universal, that what have you.
New Line
Cinema. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
in general. So they were charging these places an arm and a leg to rent them to you before they released them for home video use. Because at this time, home video, not everybody had a VCR.
So you could rent.
So you could rent them, but not everybody. So they were like, it's still a new thing. They're figuring out how to market it to the masses better, right? So John Paul here goes into his local mom and pop store,
and I spent over $100 for the Freddy's Dead VHS.
That means he asked the people that own the store if he could buy a non-retail copy from the studio, and they allowed it.
They did.
And then he paid $105. I just want you to think real quick about the last time you paid for a Blu-ray $22 and said, oh shit, that was a lot of money. Now think about how much you'd have to fucking love a movie to pay $105 for it.
And I loved every second of it. And I would watch it so much.
Oh, it's crazy to me.
And just recite the lines like I did watching it with you today.
Yeah. Yeah, this fucking guy over here, every time Freddy's about to say something, he says it 4 seconds before him. So it made me laugh. But I also saw this movie in the theater, and you're going to say, and I haven't seen it since. And you're going to say, Randy, how could you watch this movie in the theater as a kid and then never watch it again? Because I thought it was bad as a kid. I saw it because I wanted to see something in 3D. I'd never done that before. So I lied to my parents and told them that my friend's parents were taking us to see some cartoon movie and on a Saturday, and I went and saw Freddy's Dead. My buddy's folks dropped us off right at the theater. This is how lax the theaters were back then. I was 91. Jesus, I'm 38. I can do the math on that real quick. What would I have been?
Oh, now you want me to do math?
Yeah, do math real quick.
Are they going to complain about math if our math
no,
is wrong?
Yeah, will you?
Well, I mean, that's important. So, 1991.
Right. So was like 10, 9, 10, maybe 11?
You were born in what year?
1981. So I was 10.
Yeah.
So this would
10 years old.
Not only was this the first 3D movie I ever saw, it's the first rated R movie.
Oh, jeez.
And because for another year and a half until my dad introduced me to Die Hard. But yeah, so I lied and I went and saw this, and it was the stupidest fucking thing I ever saw in my life at that point. Now, over the years, I've had many opportunities to watch it again. I have not because of that disdain. I always thought it was silly. Too silly for me. Like, I like My Nightmare on Elm Streets to be 1, 3, 4, 5. That's it.
You forgot New Nightmare.
A New Nightmare. Okay, sorry.
And Freddy's Dead. I mean, and Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason I give a pass to, because it's something I always wanted to see. But yeah, so I never wanted to watch this again. My takeaways, again, doesn't hold up well in my opinion. Robert Englund, it looks like he's the only person that's having a good time in this movie. Besides Maggie, who I think did a very good job. That's, again, what was her name?
Shut Up Billy Zane's sister. Lisa Zane.
Lisa Zane. And then the guy from Alien, who I like. But everything else about this movie was just set up for as like a silly little thing. That was a time period thing. Tom Arnold being there, Alice Cooper.
But you know who else we forgot to mention that was in this? Johnny Depp.
Oh, shit. That's right.
Johnny Depp came back and did
I even wrote
PSA.
Down. Johnny Depp did the your brains on drugs thing before the kid got high. I fucking forgot about that. Yeah. So Johnny Depp came back. It was meta before meta was the thing.
It was a Twin Peaks episode.
Yeah. No, it was a meta, like we're making fun of something that was popular meta-wise. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like Cabin in the Woods, poking fun at tropes for the sake of it, and making your own thing out of it. I don't know. I think it was ahead of its time. I think if it would have came out nowadays and was this popular, it might have done better. I mean, it did well apparently.
It did,
but I don't think a lot of people like it because of its the fact that it's taking everything they liked about the other ones and shitting all over it.
Because it became a Looney Tunes, but it was still entertaining.
But I liked, you're going to say, Randy, what did you think?
Yeah, Randy, what did you think?
I had a good time rewatching this one.
Oh, good.
I did fall asleep at the beginning, I have to admit. Fell asleep for about 5 minutes on and off. But once I woke up...
Once you woke up.
I got into it and I laughed. We laughed. We had a good time. So
this was not a good torture for you.
I wasn't tortured as much as annoyed through most of it.
Ooh, annoyed.
But you and I laughed and it made up for it.
Oh,
so.
Good.
But it was something I don't want to do again. So that being said, again, thank you so much again for our special guest for coming in, and Diandra Lazor. And shout out to, since we're doing Freddy Krueger stuff, shout out to William Adams, and it's Adams, it's not photography, Jesus. Adams Entertainment. I'm sorry, guys. Adams Entertainment. They do all kinds of special stuff. You should look them up on Facebook. But William Adams played Freddy Krueger in the fan film that we talked to Diandra about. You should look that fan film up too. It's excellent. And William Adams, shout out to you, sir. You're a great Freddy Krueger. And I'd say that's about it. You should continue to watch Zombie Takeover TV. Check out our new stuff. Check out our old stuff. Have any comments, questions, queries? Drop them in the line below. Any final words?
Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep. Hey, how can you argue with that? Thank you very much for listening. Stay tuned.
I